Hi there, this is Carrie from Stamp with CT. Welcome to our Facebook Live. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time to craft and connect. That means we're going to do a little bit of chatting, a little bit of crafting. You know the drill. Have some fun together. So first of all, if you are watching the replay, welcome. So glad you're here. Get a little bit of adjusting there. So, as you come in, I hope you will hit that heart button or the thumbs up. Let me know that you are here for our Facebook Live today. And I'm going to give it just a minute. You know, it takes a minute for Facebook to send out notifications. And hopefully they will do that for us this morning, so we have some friends joining. Yes, I see you coming in, so please say hello. So glad you're here with me today. We have got a fun project. And of course, I have Oliver here with me this morning, so you may hear his little nails clicking on the floor. He'll settle in just a minute. Now, I also have another little, and so we're just going to have to put up with it. And it is not going to stop us from crafting and having fun, is it? Okay, let's jump on in. I like to start with the crafting. I know that that's what you're here for. Of course, I have some announcements I'll try to sprinkle in along the way. And then don't forget that we have a giveaway each week. And I have some happy mail to share, and I'll do that at the end after we make our project. So this morning, we are making a tent fold card. So I have it here, all set up. What's really cool about this card is it has some dimension as it's displayed. It can be either laid down on a table. It could also be stood up. And there's a little stop that keeps it from moving. And then this focal image almost looks as if it is floating on the front of the card. So I had never seen this fold before. Just kind of give you all the different angles. And I thought it was just so fun. You know that in February we had Fun Fold February. And I've continued on with a deep dive of how many folds can I find. I've just been searching Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube. I'm finding all kinds of folds that I've never done before. And this is one that I had never seen before, called a tent fold card. I am using the gorgeous Butterfly Kisses Designer Series paper. So let's flip through the little swatch book right quick. This is from our current annual catalog, and I'll be honest, it had been months since I pulled this paper out. But it is spring now, and I thought this would be a really fun, bright paper. That's what kind of popped into my mind as I saw how to make this fold. I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, it was the citrus bundle. Jackie Bolheis showed this card, and she was using the citrus bundle. So I wanted something bright and fun, and this definitely jumped into my mind. And then we're using the Best Butterfly stamp set to get this You're My Bestie sentiment. Now this is a really cute stamp set that does coordinate with dies called Build a Butterfly, and so you're actually able to stamp and then put those pieces together. Really, really cute. You can use the dies to cut from designer series paper, from cardstock. So this is a really fun little set. And then you know I have to bring in my Stylish Shapes dies. I'm using the two largest stitch squares. These are one of my favorite die sets. I know I say it all the time. You hardly ever see me use a project that doesn't use this die set, but I love it. It not only stitches the piece that you're cutting out, but it stitches the negative. So let's say you want to make a frame for the front of your card with an image or focal image down inside that frame. This is the set for you. So if you don't have this set, I want to say it's right at $30. It's one of my workhorses in my craft room, and I just love this set of dies. So that's where I came up with the pieces for our focal image. So I thought I would share something with you as well. I am creating templates as I find these fun folds, and I'm just using, like, this is soft seafoam cardstock. I don't use it a lot. If you have some cardstock that maybe the edges have been bent, you scored it improperly or something, you can kind of work that score out, or maybe it will work with what project you're doing. What I'm doing is just making myself a template, and so I'm writing all over it, putting my notes, putting my measurements, and then I have it. I'm keeping a shoebox full of these templates, and that's what I've been doing the last couple months, and I think it's going to be great because there's really nothing new under the sun. We just keep pulling out layouts, we make a little tweak to them maybe, but in a couple years I may have totally forgotten about the tent fold card, but when I pull out my box of templates, this will remind me, and I may have some totally different paper that would look really cool, maybe even some, you know, camping paper, so who knows, but that's what I'm doing to keep up with all these folds. Okay, let's get started on our project. I'm moving that out of the way because I do need to bring my paper trimmer in. We're going to, I've got my pieces cut, but we're going to need to do a little bit of scoring. So let me first tell you, and of course I'll edit the description of the video and put the measurements up for you, but we have an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of fresh Freesia cardstock. We're going to score it at 4 1/4 and 2 1/8. Then we've got a piece of cardstock that is 2 inches by 4 inches. We're going to score it at 1 inch, and then we're going to cut it apart. So we'll have 2 pieces that are 2 by 2 scored at 1. And then this last piece is the stomp here on the side. And so it's a 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. So we don't have to really do anything to it. But let's bring the paper trimmer in, and we'll score at 4 1/4, and then we'll back it up to 2 1/8. So we had Stamp Camp last Saturday, and we discussed 1/8, and I know that sometimes those measurements can be difficult. I try not to use 1/8 a lot, but sometimes you just need to. So I'll give you a little tip in just a minute. Scoring this at 1 inch, and then I'm going to cut it at 2. Now you could totally cut these squares 2 by 2 and then score each of them at 1. I just thought it was easier doing it this way because it's a little bit bigger piece of paper to manage. Now this is our basic white that will go on the inside, 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then I have my 2 pieces. And this time, oops, I say I do. There it is. Yeah, this time I cut the Parakeet Party and then the white, and that's what we're going to use over here on this card. And then one more piece. No, I think 2 more pieces. We've got a piece of Designer Series paper that's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So, you know, that would normally just layer right on the front of the card. So we're going to need to cut it in half at 2 inches. Now I like to bring my blade up and cut towards the edge of the trimmer just to help keep, did I do that right? I don't think I did. I must not have had it cut right. Oh, maybe I did. Yes, I did. Ah, sorry, guys. And then we've got one more little piece, and it is, I actually cut this at 5 inches by 1, but I kind of wish I'd cut it at 5 1/4 by 1, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So on our trimmer, and I hope that this will show up on video, you have got little score lines. And so let's come over to the 1, and actually let's come to the 2 since I was cutting 2 1/8. And we just want to look at the number 2, and then there's a tiny little line beside it, then a medium-sized line, another tiny line, then a medium line. And so you want to go to that medium line for 1/8. Those small lines are 1/16. So you've got 2, then a small line, a medium line, which is the 1/8, another small line, and then a 1/4. So I hope that that helps. We did a lot of work on our measurements over the weekend at Stamp Camp. We had a great time together. It was a lot. Stamp Camp is a lot, you guys. Most of my classes and events, I prep everything for you, but in Stamp Camp, we did fun folds again, and I really want to reinforce how to do those, and so they really did a lot of the work themselves. That just really helps you learn, right? So we're folding this piece in on that 2 1/8 score line. And then you have to kind of think on this card. Our first instinct, or my first instinct, would be to glue my Designer Series paper on, but we want to put our little mechanisms on first. So let's fold these on the score line. And you'll notice that I'm burnishing everything. And I always feel like that's important, but especially with the fun fold, you sometimes need to be a little bit more precise, and having those crisp folds really helps. Okay. So we're going to adhere these on. Now, to me, the easiest way is to fold this piece, the front, in. And I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue, and I have the folded edge that's going to go near the folded edge of that 2 1/8 score line. So let's put a little liquid glue, a little bit more than I would normally use, because this is part of the mechanism that makes the card work. And I'm kind of eyeballing top to bottom, and it really doesn't matter so much as far as that. This one's going to be a little bit higher up, and I'm okay with that. So I am bringing this close to the score line. I'll bring that closer, you can see it, but not all the way to the score line. I'm leaving a little bit of room. Now we'll let that dry for just a second. And then we're going to add this other piece with the folded edge on the other side here. So again, a little bit of glue. Now you could use your Stampin' Seal Plus tear and tape. I'm using my liquid glue, because y'all know I love it. And I'm just making sure that those pieces are just right across from each other. And again, because this is the actual mechanism of the card, that's pretty good. I want to come away. Sorry, I'm a fumble fingers this morning. Away from the edge just a tiny bit. Not a lot, just a tiny bit, okay? So that's on either side of the score line. Does it have to be perfect? No, so don't stress, okay? Just making sure that that's dry. Okay, so now we're going to need our Designer Series paper. And you don't necessarily have to put Designer Series paper, but I just found that when I did, I liked it better. You can see the mechanism when you don't. So it's up to you, but I liked using that Designer Series paper. So I'm going to fold that arm over that mechanism. I'm going to make sure I have my paper lined up right. Double check myself one more time, and we'll adhere this piece on to the left side. And again, I want to stay away from that score line. You know, get pretty close, but I also want a little bit of a border on the edge. So hopefully that shows up pretty good. Got a little glue on my finger, but that's okay. Now we'll fold these pieces over the other way and put our other piece of Designer Series paper. Another 2-inch piece. So that will cover up that mechanism for me. Try to get that lined up. So remember, it's just that same measurement that you would normally use, but you're able to cut that paper. And I don't have that completely lined up. Try to zhuzh it just a little bit. Okay, so now I've got these two pieces right here that we're going to use to help that little focal image float, okay? So now let's put together the stop. So I've got that piece of designer series paper that I'm going to adhere over this. I kind of wish I had done it all the way down so that these two borders would be even. Now, you know, it's okay, but if I were to cut the supplies again, I may go ahead and let this be all the way to the edge of the cardstock here. So 5 1/4 by 1 inch, and just have a border on either side. Stop and think too, it would be fun to use an embossing folder on this piece that's going to be our stop as well. So let's put this little strip of designer series paper on our stop. And again, just kind of centering that up. Love using liquid glue so I can wiggle it in place. And then we need a little lift to this so that it actually does stop that other piece of cardstock. So let's use some dimensionals. One of my favorite things, y'all know. And I moved my trash can all the way to the other end of my table. That was silly. Let me see if I can reach it. Oh yeah. So I don't have dimensional backs everywhere. I don't know why today would be different, but... And I'm being pretty generous with these dimensionals, I know, but again, this is part of the workings of the card, so I want to make sure that it stays in place. Probably a little bit of overkill, but that's okay. And make sure my hearts are facing the right direction, and I'm coming over to the edge with just a very tiny border. At the edge and then the top and bottom. So there we have our mechanism that's going to stop this. Before I go any further, I'm going to reinforce this score line again just to get it to cooperate a little bit better. See, that even helped a good bit there. Alrighty, let's see what we have left. We need to put our inside panel. So this is that piece of basic white, so we can write our message. Now, we're not going to have a ton of room, but that's okay. Sometimes we like having a little bit smaller space to write, don't we? And again, just getting that centered up. And here too, I think that the borders would look nicer if I'd cut that designer series paper just a tiny bit longer, but if I hadn't pointed that out to you, you may not have even thought about it. And I know that people that aren't card makers are probably not going to think about it. So I'm not going to stress over it. It's cute, isn't it? That paper just makes it so fun. Okay, we are almost finished with this project, y'all. We need to do a little stamping. And again, I'm bringing in that You're My Bestie with some Starry Sky Ink. I'm going to grab my piercing mat and ink this up good. My Starry Sky ink pad is really juicy. I haven't used it in a little while. And I like Starry Sky a lot. Okay, let me get this lined up. It's pretty tight on this little square, but I liked it. Pretty good. Could be over just a tiny bit to the right, but I'm not going to stress about that either. Pretty happy with that. Okay, we'll give that just a second to dry while I move things out of the way. Put this over on my chamois so I don't have a catastrophe. And then I've got a little butterfly as well that I I'm fussy cut from the designer series paper. Really cute, little multicolored butterfly. And just kind of taking the bone folder to bring his little wings up. Now granted, once this runs through the mail, his wings are not going to be up anymore, but just to give that a little bit of dimension. Now because this floats on the front of the card, I'm just going to adhere this to my layer. I'm not going to pop it up. You could, but I'm just not going to. And again, this is Parakeet Party that I'm adding this to, which I forgot how much I love Parakeet Party. Haven't used it in a little while either. Okay, y'all, we're almost done here. We're going to add some glue to these flaps. And I'm just going to kind of do it down the center. Well, I say I will. Now, I was just using that glue. What happened there? Come on. It just does not want to come out. Let me see if I have another one handy. This is a brand new one, so it's a safe bet. Now, I did not leave that open that long. We'll work on that here in a minute. You don't want to see me fuss with glue. A little liquid glue, or a lot of liquid glue, actually. That was a pretty good bit. Now, I was able to kind of hold these down. Oops. That didn't come out good. Let me adhere this better. I had already had a little stop up before I realized it. Grab the same bottle again, y'all. Let's adhere this together again. Oh, goodness. Real life crafting, right? Okay, so while I let that dry for just a second, let me just tell you that today is an exciting day for Stampin' Up! Demonstrators and customers too. We have a brand new catalog coming soon in May. I'm just centering this up on my card front. And demonstrators, we get to see a PDF version of that today, this afternoon actually. Super excited about that. And I love that I don't have to go to work today, so I'll get to pour over not only the new catalog, but also we get to see a PDF version. I think I told you that. Also the retirement list, or Stampin' Up! Calls it the last chance list. So there are things retiring from not only our annual catalog that we presently have, but also the mini catalog. So don't forget that it only runs through April. So we're going to be finding out all of that information today. And it's a crazy time, isn't it? Because I know that some things that I absolutely love are going to go away. But I've also learned through the years that some fun, wonderful new things that are really going to spice up our crafting, they're coming too. And so that's what I love and really look forward to with this. We know Stampin' Up! Has shared a little, just a little information that we're getting a color refresh. So that means that some of the colors may retire that we have now. We know the in colors should, but who knows? They're going to mix things up. And I don't have privy to that information either. But as we see the new catalog today, we will learn what is going to be in the new catalog. So that will tell us about the new colors and everything. So I'm super excited. That is one of the great perks of being a demonstrator, is getting this information early. Starting the 4th of April, I can place an order to get new product from that new catalog, which you know I will, so that I can start making projects and planning classes and how I'm going to share it with you. Now I'm pulling in just some basic rhinestones, going back old school here with the embellishment. You could use so many of our cute embellishments with this, but I thought just a single basic rhinestone would be the finishing touch for me. So let's see here. Everything should be good to go, and there we go. We've got our focal image, we've got our butterfly, and it stands up, y'all, so people can display it. It's just so fun. I love this tent fold card. All right. So just a little bit more information. I'll be sharing soon with what is going to be retiring starting the 4th of April. Some of those items will be discounted, but the discount goes in effect the 4th of April. It's while supplies last. Stamps are not even guaranteed. They used to be, but they're not even guaranteed anymore. So if you see something on the last chance list that you can't live without, that's something that will complete your collection, be sure to grab it quickly. Okay, and I will order new catalogs on the 4th too, the new annual catalog. So if you've placed an order with me in the last 6 months, you're already on my list to get a new catalog. If you haven't, just place an order and that will get you on my list. Or you can message me and I can tell you other ways of how you can get a catalog. Okay, let me move these aside. We'll look at some Happy Mail that I received. It's been a great Happy Mail week around here. This first one came from Donna Fenton, my sweet, sweet friend, and it has the most incredibly sweet message inside. And Dale and I just really looked at this card because there's so many elements to it that are so much fun. I just love how she made this. And it's just so cute. Love it. So thank you, Donna. We enjoyed receiving that. And then my awesome new friend Cheryl made this card. It's kind of a lattice on the front. And it took me a minute to really figure out what she'd done. She did the coloring of this image. And it is just fabulous, y'all. So you can see that she cut those pieces and then glued it on. A little bit of designer series paper on the inside for some fun, but really, really cute card. I love this. We may have to make this in a class soon. And then we got this slimline card from our amazing friend Cassandra. And it is using the Rain or Shine designer series paper, cutting the little critters out. She used that trick, that faux embossing trick that we did in stamp class, where you take a piece of packing tape, put it over your basic white cardstock, run it through with the bridge die, and it looks shiny, feels shiny, as if it's been embossed. It's such a cool trick that I learned from, oh gosh, I think her name is Mary Costello. She did a presentation at Onstage with this suite. But isn't this card adorable that Cassandra sent? Love it, love it. I love the little flower stamped on the inside too. Just such attention to detail. The way that she rounded the corners. Really, really cute card. Then I got something from Stampin' Up. And it's always fun when you get Happy Mail from Stampin' Up. So you know that in February I celebrated my 10th anniversary as a Stampin' Up demonstrator, which is just, it's a big milestone for me. And I love that Stampin' Up helps me celebrate and supports me. And I received this in the mail. It's my 10-year anniversary pin. I'll bring it a little closer. There's a little note from Shelly and Sarah, the CEO and founder, co-founder of Stampin' Up. Just made my heart just so happy. So that is my gorgeous 10-year anniversary pin from Stampin' Up. So lots of Happy Mail this week, and I was smiling out there on the porch at the mailbox. Okay, guys, I think, oh, no, I've got a prize. Let me get the prize. I thought we were done. So last week, I shared that the prize would be the iridescent rhinestones. These are going to go to my amazing friend, Judy Pierce, amazing friend and team member, Judy Pierce. So we will get those to her. And this week, I thought it would be fun to have Stampin' Dimensionals, a package of dimensionals, to be our prize, since we did use those on the stop for the card that we created. So that's our prize. What do you need to do to be entered for a chance to win that when I do my random drawing next week? Leave a comment, share the video with friends or family if you think they would enjoy this content. Send up a heart, send up a wow face, send up a thumbs up, anything that reacts to the video and engages with me. Tells Facebook and YouTube, because I upload these to YouTube, it tells those social media platforms, hey, other people need to see this content. And we've seen lots of growth over the past couple of months, and that's because of you and your willingness to support me and share the projects and videos. So I appreciate that so much. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I will put the dimensions, the measurements, and supply list. I'll edit the description of the video so you have that. And if you create a 10th fold card, please share a picture with me. You can post it in CT's Craft and Connect Facebook group if you're a member there, and if you're not, you should be. And you can put it in the comments of this video if you want to, or you can message it to me, text, or send it through Messenger, whatever you'd like to do. But I would encourage you to share it with me and with others and inspire us. Okay, y'all, have a great week. See you later.